You confess it, you mean it, you cry about it, and then you do it again. Not because you don't care, not because you don't believe, but because there is a war going on inside you that started 2,000 years ago. And one man already told us exactly what it feels like. His name was Paul. Before he was an apostle, he hunted down Christians. After he met Jesus on the road to Damascus, everything changed. His direction, his mission, his heart, but not his flesh. Years into his ministry, writing to the church in Rome, Paul admits something no religious leader is supposed to admit. He says he does not understand his own actions. He wants to do good, and instead he does the very thing he hates. Read that again. Not a new believer. Not someone on the outside looking in. The man who wrote almost half the New Testament stood up and said, "I don't get it either." If Paul struggled with this, your struggle is not proof that your faith is fake. It might be proof that your faith is real. Notice, he doesn't say he has no desire for good. He says the desire is there. It's the follow-through that keeps failing. So what's actually happening here? Paul isn't describing weak willpower. He's describing a civil war between two natures living in one body. The nature that was crucified with Christ, that wants holiness, that longs for God, and the old nature, the flesh, that still remembers how to sin fluently because it's had a lifetime of practice. This isn't a Paul problem. This is a human problem. Every person who has ever tried to change alone, through sheer discipline, has run into this same wall. The wall between wanting and doing. You can want to stop and still fall. You can hate the sin and still reach for it. That contradiction isn't hypocrisy. Paul has a word for it. He says it's sin living in him, using his own body against his own will. Paul says this conflict is not occasional. It's constant. This tension isn't unique to Paul's letter to Rome. He names it again, writing to the Galatians, describing the flesh and the spirit as opposing forces, pulling a believer in opposite directions at the exact same moment. This is why willpower alone was never going to be the answer. You cannot win a spiritual war with a self-help strategy. Paul tried commandment, discipline, religious performance. He had more of it than almost anyone alive in his generation, and it still couldn't deliver him. If the most disciplined man in the early church couldn't muscle his way out of this, the problem was never a discipline problem. It was a deliverance problem. And then Paul says something that changes everything for anyone still trapped in shame. So does Paul leave us stuck in the war? No. Right after his most raw confession, he asks the question every struggling believer has asked in the dark: who will rescue me from this body of death? And then, without pausing for despair, he answers his own question: thanks be to God, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Not through more effort, not through more guilt, through Christ. You are not disqualified by the struggle. You are only disqualified if you stop reaching for grace. You will keep fighting this war until the day you go home. But you were never meant to fight it alone. And you were never meant to fight it perfectly. Grace was never for people who stopped sinning. Grace was always for people exactly like you,